Hello, boys and girls. It's me again, the sort of fat bastard wannabe Buddha, coming at you again to see if anybody's interested in anything I have to say, which is very doubtful. Actually, I'm in one of my better moods today, and my friends and everybody say I was dark, depressing, and nihilistic in my first video, which is normally a good day for me, how I'd like to be perceived. So, in that vein, I bring you some old news. Hopefully that transition wasn't that problematic. One of the things I'm trying to teach myself today is some basic video editing skills, coupled with a whole bunch of basic communication and how to properly articulate my ideas to a larger audience than the small group of friends that listen to me or are forced to listen to me. What I was hoping to do is take an article and then expound upon that and use that as a means of focusing my mind and engaging in a conversation with other folks, hopefully. Unfortunately, it's not going that well today. I've recorded this about 10, 20 times, 30. But anyway, I'm going to try to plow through it one more time. What I'm using today is an article by Paul Krugman in the New York Times op-ed. It's called "Conservatives Are Mostly Not Libertarian," which is obvious if anybody understands what it means to be a conservative and what it means to be a libertarian. And down the road, maybe when I get into a more philosophical discussion, I will try to branch out on that. But anyway, what I wanted to discuss, anyway, that's a terrible transitional phrase. Why did you use that? That was atrocious. You should stop there and not use that again. Please stop. Please stop using that phrase. Anyway, okay. What I want to discuss is the conservative movement as it's now constituted has a major problem. And by proxy, the Republican Party has a major problem. They've lost 2 national elections. And they're probably on their way to losing a 3rd national election in 2016. But they think they're going to be able to graft on enough libertarianism in order to make an appeal to my generation or the millenniums. And that probably ain't going to go over as well as they plan. But it might. In the piece, hopefully I'm able to link to, Krugman makes a point. There's an inherent flaw between conservatism and libertarianism, especially conservatism as it's now constituted, especially after the Southern strategy welcomed in a large portion of basic conservative Christian populism into their ranks. And Christian populism doesn't get along with libertarians, and libertarians don't get along with Christian populism. Krugman uses Santorum as probably the guy that's going to be running against Rand Paul in 2016 for the Republican nomination. I don't really see that as, if I was Rand Paul, I wouldn't be worried about Santorum as much as I'd be worried about somebody like Mike Huckabee. Mike Huckabee probably is going to be the one that picks up the Christian populist banners and tries to ride it into the 2016 nomination. He's just going to play better in Iowa and parlay that into South Carolina and basically a Southern strategy of his own to the White House. But libertarians, it's interesting that libertarians are and conservative movement is currently leaked. Maybe this has a lot to do with Charles Koch, and that's why there's a new vibrant remeshing of the libertarian brand, and that's why you see people like Glenn Beck and other people try to parlay a little libertarian into their kitsch value. But what's interesting is the Republican Party blew up and ran its Southern strategies to its logical conclusion, and demographics is eating it alive. So it makes an outplay to libertarianism as a means to attract millenniums. What's interesting about this, in my eyes, is that the libertarians did a similar thing. They pursued their own Southern strategy in the 1980s. It's very seldom discussed, unless you was a fat white boy living in the South of a particular anarchist bent, and then you noticed it, especially when you started engaging in a lot of folks from the Bob Jones University when you was a young punk. And when I say punk, I mean punk. But what was happening in the 80s is the libertarians thought they had the world's greatest idea, which was basically they made a normative claim and then violated that normative claim in order to secure their normative claim. And they thought they were geniuses. Alright, whatever. But they thought they had the world's greatest idea, but no one was showing up at their rallies except some potheads. And they really couldn't, pack into seats and, sell the merchandise to a bunch of potheads. We all know this. They don't have money. That's why they beg money from us. It ain't money. I'm sorry. Little joke there. No. And the answer is no. more DMT and shrooms for me. But this will be the third transitional edit in here. Hopefully this works out properly. I'm not sure if it is. Maybe it will be a little jumbled there, and it messes up the flow. But I pretty much said everything I wanted to say in the piece, and it's basically a conversational started, and hopefully some humor that was found in there. And I'm using this as a means of articulation, as I said earlier, and skill presenting. Hopefully when I get a little bit better at this, I'm able to ramble straight out for it. But I haven't found my voice yet, and I don't feel comfortable behind the camera or in front of the camera, or wherever I am positioned with the camera. But I think this is the end of the day's video, and if you have any interest in me continuing this, please subscribe, like, favorite, or whatever it is they tell you to do on YouTube. But I need your help here. You know, this is pretty sad, pathetic. And how am I going to buy books? See all these books in the background? How am I going to buy more books and working in retail? It's just not going to work out for me. And how am I going to get to do the good stuff in life? I need sushi money. Sorry. So please like, favorite, and talk. I'm interested in what other people say. Make an effort, please.